Why comics? Why do I choose to make comics? Why do I choose to even read comics? Because comics can tell stories that other people cannot. Because once you start getting other mediums, whether that is especially visual mediums, not text, because that could be one person with a typewriter or a word processor and they could just hammer out entire worlds. But when you're talking about visual mediums, films, you're talking about TV, you are having to give up your vision. You're going to have to go in and you're going to have to accommodate others. Compromise. That's the biggest problem. Compromise. In comics, if you can pencil, you can ink, you can letter, you can write it, you can everything. You could do literally everything yourself, and there are services out there where you just send the files, they'll print up the comics. Hell, they'll even ship them to customers. You don't even have to ship them out yourself. They'll take a cut, of course, the payment for the shipping, but you can make comics and ship them out yourself. Granted, you got to probably hook up with a Penguin Random House or in the old days Diamond or even before that the multiple other distributors, Cold Cut, Capital City, Heroes World. Hey, thanks Marvel for killing that. But all these other distributors, and you could get stuff out there. Hell, and when they had comics magazines, Comics Buyer's Guide, other stuff like that, you could actually take ads like, here, pay whatever, $100, 150 back then, so it's like $300 now, whatever it was. Like, hey, here's the number one issue of this hot new comic. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or whatever, and pick it up. Boom, and there you go. Send in a money order check. Don't send cash to the mail because they will take it. And boom, there you go. You get your comic sent right to you. Now, when you're dealing with TV and movies, and we've seen, even something like Akira, Katsuhiro Otomo, did the manga. Didn't even finish it, did the movie. But the movie is if you've read the actual manga, the spirit is correct because, well, it's also the guy doing it. Now, when you're dealing with, Spider-Man, X-Men, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers, whatever, all these things, there's certain things, compromises have to be made. You have to sew the characters throughout, or you go the DC route. Here you go. Here's the shotgun blast. Boom, there you go. Oh, here's your Suicide Squad. Boom, here's your Justice League. Boom, here's this, here's that. And people argue this, that, whatever. Like, oh, that's not right. You got to do it the Marvel way because that's the correct way. Oh, if you do it the Marvel way, you're just ripping off Marvel, and you can't win. There's no winning. But when it comes to making comics, you do not have to compromise anything. And honestly, that can go horrifically wrong. That can be hilariously wrong, or it can be absolute brilliance and beautiful. Or you could get, like I said, the horrifically or hilariously wrong, and you get if you watch Red Letter Media, they the black tank top mindset. These writer, director, stars who put themselves like a Gideon or a Neil Breen film, that kind of mindset where nobody can tell you, hey, this doesn't make no sense. This is like the George Lucas prequel problem. No, he got so big, nobody's gonna hey George, that doesn't look right. That's kind of stupid. Maybe you change that because nobody's gonna say they don't lose their job, they don't lose their position because somebody else would just pop right on in and say, yeah, George, that looks great, or hey Neil, that looks great. So like architect can go and make a film where he's a super hacker and eating cans of tuna and talking to tigers and whatever. The comic book version of that will be far more fascinating than something that has been edited to death, refined, had so many like little extra voices. This is why I often like, well, what would others think about this? Hey, what do you think about this page right here? I'm like, and I realized if I'd asked that person, and I stopped myself from actually going through with this because if I asked that person and they said something, I'm like, I don't agree with that. I'm gonna do whatever I want. At the end, I'm gonna do whatever I want anyway. And sometimes, yes, some of my comics, whoo, kind of weird and out there. Sometimes they're, kind of what you would expect. But you're going to actually have something that's from me at the end of the day. I'm making the final call. I'm not looking at somebody else to hold my hand all the way through the process and like, well, Larry, you should do this. Like, yeah, y'all listen to you. You know what you're talking about. No, at the end of the day, I'm the one that's making the call. And you really got to do that because who's going to, like, we don't take, if you get to take the credit or you got to take the blame. Well, it wasn't my fault. It was the editor's fault not catching it. I'm my own editor. I make mistakes. But you look at how many assistant editors, and even look at the indie side where you got these people, even getting their stuff, put out through Image or even self-published stuff, and they got someone like assistant edits by da da da, and they still miss stuff. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing too bad when it comes to that. But just follow your instincts, follow your gut, be your own, you know, in many ways, be your own deity when it comes to creating this world. Because you got only yourself to blame if things go wrong, or you got yourself to enjoy the credit when things go good. You sell out of a certain book. Like, wow, I'm happy this happened. I was hoping it would happen, but don't get too cocky. But go and be ungovernable when it comes to making comics. You don't have to have somebody say, "Well, I don't know about this. I don't like this idea. It's not my cup of tea." Like just do your thing. Don't let nobody stop you. Just a little bit of advice or 2 cents, as it were. All right. Thanks for listening.